All right, the Chargers have absolutely dominated in their first preseason game against my Detroit Lions. Hey, if you are new to this channel, my name is Craig. Me and my buddy Chris started this a little over a year ago following this guy to the West Coast, Jim Harbaugh. We do enjoy watching Chargers football. We love Jim Harbaugh. Knew he is going to have a well-coached team, so we followed him over. And we're Lions fans, and so this is always interesting. Glad we played you in the preseason and not the regular season for this one, because the points don't matter, much like whose line is it anyway. So anyways, man, oh man, a lot of good things to talk about for the Chargers coming out of the game. Like, you've got to be encouraged as a Chargers fan after watching that. Even though most of the players that played didn't matter, it's not true. Like, it's not true. You played your rookies. You even played a couple starters. Like, there were some things. Now, the Lions didn't, so that gave a little bit of an edge, a little bit of an advantage. But there's a couple players that played really, really well. I want to touch on one of them. But first, I want to talk about a player that, while it might not be exciting, I want to talk to you about something that could come out of it in even a trade possibility. Or maybe you just keep him. And that's talking about Trey Lance. He was a forgotten man. I want you to think about this with Trey Lance for a second. Trey Lance was the number 3 overall pick. That's what he was for the San Francisco 49ers. First round, 3rd pick, 2021. He is still 25 years old. That means, I believe, don't quote me on this, but he is still younger than Cam Ward, who was just drafted number 1 overall by the Titans. So we have Trey Lance is coming over here. He's young. He went to start his 2nd year in the league for the 49ers, just completely destroyed his ankle, missed the year. Brock Purdy turns out to be really good, and the rest of the story is written. Trey Lance heads over to Dallas, tries to get some stuff done there. They, do what Dallas does, which is misuse people, and then he winds up with the Chargers on what I believe is a 1-year, $2.4 million deal. He had a fantastic game when you're talking about what he did against the Detroit Lions. He was 13 of 20 for 120 yards. All right, he tossed a pair of touchdowns, and he played the first 3 quarters of the game. And here's one of the things that I love what Jim Harbaugh did. It would have been so easy to take your young quarterback who hasn't had a lot of game experience. He plays a great first half, and you just say, all right, that's it. Your confidence is at an all-time high. We're going to pull you. No. He's like, no, I want to see what you can do after the half too. And Trey Lance continued to play well. But what I thought were a couple things that were just completely different were his ability to put touch on the football. All right, he had the deep ball, all right, probably a 30-yard pass down the field to Keandre Lambert-Smith. We're going to talk about him more in a minute too. All right, he had the deep ball where he passed it to him, dropping it in cover. I don't know if the defense was playing cover 2, because usually you have to throw that hard to get it there, but he dropped it over the corner's head and got it down before the safety was able to come over and make a play. Really, really impressive. Now, is the coverage going to be that slow in a regular game? Probably not, but it was still just a beautiful touch pass. What might even be more important or more impressive, as weird as it sounds, was the 4 or 5 yard touchdown pass to Will Dissly. Like, that is the little things where Dissly got to step on the safety. Trey Lance didn't try and rifle it to him. He just gently threw a pass over the top of the safety's head where Dissly was able to do it. Again, is that the kind of separation you'd find with starters? Unlikely. Is there better closing speed if Brian Branch or Kirby Joseph's in there? Yes, absolutely. But still, he knows who he's playing against, and he looked the part doing it. I also think it was important to remember that Harbaugh had enough players in there. You got to see Omarion Hampton. You got to see your first-round picks. And he had enough good players in there that he surrounded Trey Lance with it. So why am I talking about this all? Because the Chargers have Herbert. Like, Herbert is just like a demigod, apparently, according to Jim Harbaugh, right? I mean, he does. He has a phenomenal arm, great player, had a great year last year. Now you're surrounding him with more talent. So why is the backup important? Well, you can look at it from one of two ways. Number one, Justin Herbert has had injuries each and every year of his career, right? So not every year, but especially in the recent ones, whether it's an ankle, whether it's, whatever that is, he usually has something that is either going to keep him out a game or two, or he's significantly limited. You already have Taylor Heineke, so you already know you have a guy behind him. But Heineke's a jag, right? And that isn't a bad thing. He's just another guy. He's not a horrible backup quarterback by any stretch, but he's not great. So if Trey Lance can be a guy who can run the offense similarly to Herbert, big arm, has enough mobility to do certain things, and they don't really have to change what the offense is doing from Herbert to Lance. They do with Heineke a little bit. Doesn't have as big of an arm. He's not as quick with his legs. It might be a really good option for a game or two if Herbert gets hurt. But here's the other one. And here's what nobody talks about. And this is what we've hoped to do as the Lions with Hendon Hooker, is can you get him good enough where other teams see him playing at that high level and say, we want to take a shot on this guy at the trade deadline, or we want to take a shot at this guy and make him our future quarterback. So a good quarterback will net you some really good draft capital in return. I think that was the hope when it was like, all right, if Hendon Hooker is not going to be the guy, we re-sign Jared Goff to a big extension, right? Yeah. And if nobody else wants to do that with Trey Lance, like if they want to trade for him to guarantee they get him, fantastic. It's fantastic. So it could be looking at a second, third round pick for you if he continues to play well this preseason, and you determine by the second half of the year that you're not going to need him because you're not going to win a Super Bowl with Trey Lance under center. Find a way to trade him away. All right, here's the other guy that I want to talk about real quick, and I know Chris talked about him as well, and it's Keandre Lambert-Smith. And I think what I want to talk about with him is a little bit different because, and I'm not going to talk about the deep ball that he caught because we know the speed. We know the 4.3 speed and all of that kind of stuff. But when he played for Tennessee, what we didn't know was that he was a great route runner and that he could do that. And he's been saying, I just want to work on it. All right. Actually, I don't know if it was Tennessee. I don't know why I said that. So anyways, in college. But anyways, this is actually the most impressive one that he ran to me. All right? This little spot right here. Look at that separation. Look at it. Right here. Look at the separation that he gets. Now, it's on Boodle. I got to be completely honest with you. Huge Lions fans. We have our own Lions channel. I had no idea we had a guy named Boodle on our team. Not a clue. So now he had another play where he stayed stride for stride with a wide receiver. I think it was, but he also got beat a couple times. But this right here is really, really fun to watch. So you can see this move that he puts on at the point of the attack. It's a slant for 15 yards that ends up going all the way. All right, that's where the speed is different. So keep your eyes at the bottom of the screen. Look at that separation right there. He's gone. They had another route going inside. All right, they had another route going inside. I don't know who this is right here, but so that sucks the safety down under, so you get one-on-one opportunity here with the corner. Look at him. He's looking for his jockstrap. I hate admitting this because, like I said, I'm a Lions fan. With Lambert-Smith, what's more impressive is not the speed. We know the speed. We know it. Auburn. I don't know why I said Tennessee. What's more impressive is seeing that route running and being a consistent threat no matter the situation. If this dude can take that next step, if this dude can actually be a player for you, even though he's a fifth-round pick, and everything would scream like he's got some of the ability, it's going to slow down a little bit when he goes against starters. But everything is screaming that this dude has more talent than we thought, and he already has moved himself ahead of the depth chart. He's already ahead of your second-round pick on the depth chart when it comes to getting opportunities and things like that. Trey Harris, look out. And if Trey Harris is just developing a little bit slower, that's fine too. That's fine as well. But to see these guys, if you can actually put even more talent and speed around Herbert, look out. This offense could be a lot of fun to watch. All right, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.